Dr. Ilara Miles peered through the observation glass, her eyes reflecting the soft glow of bioluminescent panels illuminating the room on the other side. She scribbled down notes, completely engrossed in the behavior of the creature playfully darting around the habitat. The being, affectionately named Clicks by the research team, was unlike anything terrestrial. Its translucent skin shimmered with a spectrum of iridescent colors as it moved. Clicks seems to be adapting well to the gravity adjustments, Dr. Miles muttered to herself, making another tick on her clipboard. She was the head of xenobiology at the facility and had been working with extraterrestrial life forms since the inception of the Interstellar Biological Exchange Program. Just then, her assistant Tom burst into the lab, his face flushed with excitement. "Ilara, you need to see this," he exclaimed, holding up his tablet. It displayed a series of graphs and data points that made Ilara's heart skip a beat. "What is it?" she asked, her voice a mix of curiosity and concern. "It's about Clicks. I was reviewing the bioscan data from last night, and there's something about its reproductive cycle that's, well, it's just bizarre." Ilara took the tablet and studied the information. According to the data, Clicks' species didn't have a defined mating season. Instead, their reproduction seemed to be triggered by complex environmental factors and social interactions that were still not fully understood. "This is extraordinary," Ilara said, her mind racing with the implications. "If we can figure out what triggers their reproductive cycle, it could revolutionize our understanding of alien biology." Determined to explore this further, Ilara arranged for a more detailed observation session with Clicks. She entered the habitat, a controlled environment designed to mimic Clicks' home planet. The alien, about the size of a small dog but with a structure that resembled a cross between a jellyfish and an octopus, floated gently towards her. "Hello, Clicks," she greeted, watching as the creature's colors shifted, possibly a sign of its mood. Clicks had quickly learned basic communication through a series of light and color changes, thanks to a special interface developed by the team. Clicks' colors pulsed warmly, indicating pleasure or perhaps greeting. Ilara presented a series of environmental stimuli to see how Clicks would react. Nothing significant happened until she activated a simulation of what they believed was a seasonal storm on Clicks' planet. Instantly, Clicks' colors shifted dramatically, and it began to emit a series of low, harmonic tones. The data readings on Ilara's portable scanner spiked in real time. "Fascinating," Ilara whispered, making careful notes. The storm simulation seemed to be a reproductive trigger. This was a groundbreaking discovery, but it raised more questions than it answered. How did these triggers vary from individual to individual? What other factors were involved in their complex reproduction? As she continued her observations, Tom watched through the observation glass, equally fascinated. The data they were gathering would not only provide insights into an alien life form but could potentially lead to advances in biotechnology and environmental science. As the session concluded, Ilara felt a mix of triumph and daunting responsibility. They were on the brink of something big, something that could change the way humans interacted with the universe. "Prepare a full report," she instructed Tom as they left the habitat. "We need to document everything. This is just the beginning." With a mixture of anticipation and determination, Ilara looked back at Clicks, who still played with the remnants of the simulated storm, oblivious to its role in the broader universe of scientific discovery. This was the dawn of a new era in xenobiology, and she was at its forefront. The early hours in the lunar lab were quiet, a stark contrast to the flurry of activity that had taken place just hours before. Ilara sat in front of multiple screens, each flashing with data streams from Clicks' latest interactions. She sipped her coffee, the steam fogging up her glasses briefly as she leaned in to scrutinize a particularly puzzling graph. Tom arrived with a new set of environmental sensors. "These should help us get a clearer picture of the physical triggers," he said, setting up the equipment with practiced ease. Ilara nodded, her mind racing with possibilities. "Let's simulate a range of atmospheric pressures and see how Clicks reacts. We might uncover more than just reproductive cues." As they adjusted the settings, Clicks seemed intrigued, its body pulsating softly with hues of green and blue. Suddenly, the creature floated towards a sensor, emitting a low-frequency vibration, its body enveloping the device. The readouts went wild. "Look at this!" Tom pointed at the screen. "It's as if Clicks is trying to communicate through the vibrations." Alara adjusted the frequency and watched in awe as Clicks began to mimic the pattern. This interaction led them to a breakthrough realization. Clicks' species might use vibrational frequencies as a form of communication, possibly even for mating rituals. With this new hypothesis, Alara restructured their approach. She initiated a series of tests combining various environmental factors with vibrational patterns. Each response from Clicks was meticulously recorded and analyzed. The patterns that emerged were intricate and suggested a sophisticated level of sentience. Meanwhile, news of their findings began to circulate among the interstellar research community. A video conference was set up with experts across different space stations orbiting Earth, Mars, and beyond. During the conference, Alara presented her findings, her screen filled with graphs, videos of Clicks' interactions, and complex data tables. The participating scientists were captivated, their faces a mosaic of fascination and skepticism on her display. Dr. Hira Singh, a renowned exoplanet ecologist, raised a pertinent question. Could these vibrations be an evolutionary adaptation to their planet's unique atmospheric properties? Alara considered this. "It's possible," she replied. "Their planet is covered in dense fog-like clouds, which could mean visual cues are less effective. Vibrations would be a more reliable means for communication." The meeting ended with plans for a joint research initiative. Alara and her team were to lead the project, coordinating with other bases to collect comparable data from similar species. Back in the lab, Alara couldn't help but feel a rush of excitement. The potential for discovering a universally applicable communication method among alien species was thrilling. As the lunar day drew to a close, she and Tom prepared for another night of observations. Clicks had become more than a subject of study. It was the key to unlocking a universe of unanswered questions about life beyond Earth. They adjusted their sensors, ready to delve deeper into the aliens' mysterious world. The lab buzzed with a palpable energy, each beep and flicker bringing them closer to understanding the vast tapestry of life woven across the cosmos. Under the pale light of Earth's moon, the lab was a beacon of activity, its vibrant energy contrasting sharply with the serene expanse of the lunar landscape outside. Alara, deep in concentration, monitored Clicks' interactions with a new set of environmental stimuli, this time mimicking the seasonal cycles of its home planet more closely than ever before. As the simulation progressed, Clicks became increasingly animated, its colors swirling in complex patterns that had no parallel with earthly organisms. Tom, watching the spectacle, remarked, "It's like watching a dance choreographed by nature itself." Alara, intrigued by the analogy, noted, "These aren't just random displays. They're deliberate and structured, almost ritualistic." Fueled by curiosity, she decided to introduce an element of Earth's environment into the mix. A simulation of a gentle rain began inside the habitat, the droplets creating soft sounds as they hit the simulated ground. Clicks reacted immediately, its movements slowing, its color palette shifting to cooler tones. "Seems like rain is a dampener on their mood," Tom joked. But Alara was struck by an idea. Or it's a cue for something else. What if different weather conditions signal different behaviors or social interactions? This led to a series of controlled experiments where they manipulated weather conditions, atmospheric composition, and even gravitational changes. Each variable brought out something new in Clicks, revealing layers of behavior that were both fascinating and mystifying. The breakthrough came when they replicated what they believed to be a rare celestial event on Clicks' planet. The habitat lights dimmed to mimic an eclipse, accompanied by a slight increase in atmospheric pressure. Clicks' response was immediate and dramatic. It began to emit a sequence of pulsating lights from its core, a display they had never seen before. Alara recorded the phenomenon, her mind racing. This could be a ceremonial behavior, or maybe it's a way to strengthen social bonds during significant events. The footage of Clicks' eclipse dance was shared in their next conference call with other researchers. Dr. Singh was particularly interested. Your findings suggest that these creatures have a cultural complexity we didn't anticipate. This isn't just biology, it's anthropology. Encouraged by this, Ilara proposed a more ambitious project. We need to construct a more sophisticated environment that can simulate an entire year on Clix's planet. We might witness behaviors tied to longer cycles. Funding was approved almost immediately, given the immense implications of their discoveries. Construction began on an advanced simulation chamber capable of replicating the full spectrum of environmental conditions from Clix's world. As the new facility took shape, Ilara and Tom prepared themselves for the next phase of their research. With each data point, each test, they were peeling back the curtain on an alien ecology that was as intricate as it was beautiful. At the end of another lunar day, as the artificial sun set on their simulation chamber, they watched Clix settle into a quiet corner, its light slowly dimming in sync with the fading light. They were no longer just observers. They were chroniclers of an alien life's epic, a story unfolding one pulse, one color, one dance at a time. As the new environmental chamber hummed to life, its walls alive with projections of alien skies and landscapes, Ilara and Tom watched in anticipation. This chamber was their portal to understanding the full ecological and social tapestry of Clix's homeworld. The first simulation cycle introduced the alien equivalent of spring. Clix responded vibrantly, its colors brighter and movements more vigorous. It interacted with the elements, showing a particular fascination with the simulated wind patterns that swept across the chamber. Wind seems to stimulate it. Maybe it's a playful element in their ecosystem, Tom observed, adjusting the wind's speed and watching Clix chase the currents around the chamber. Ilara nodded, her eyes never leaving Clix. Or maybe it's a way to spread biological signals, pheromones, spores, something akin to pollination on Earth. As the cycles progressed, they simulated summer, with its intense light and heat. Clix's behavior shifted significantly. It became less active, its colors dulled as if to reflect a mode of conservation or perhaps a form of estivation. Sensors picked up subtle changes in its body chemistry, validating Ilara's hypothesis that Clix, like many Earth species, adjusted its physiological state to cope with environmental stresses. When autumn was simulated, Clix's colors turned to deep oranges and reds, and it began to emit slow, rhythmic pulses that resonated throughout the chamber. It's preparing for something, Ilara mused. This could be a prelude to a reproductive phase, or maybe it's a way of storing energy. The winter simulation brought the most profound changes. The temperature in the chamber dropped, and a soft, snow-like substance began to fall. Clix's movement slowed, and it curled into itself, its body compacting into a tight, luminescent ball. The glow was persistent and mesmerizing, casting soft shadows against the snowy ground. This luminescence could be a survival mechanism, Tom proposed. It might generate minimal heat or perhaps ward off predators. Ilara agreed, adding, or it could be attracting potential mates. Many terrestrial marine species glow to attract partners in the deep ocean's darkness. As the annual cycle concluded, they had gathered a trove of data that painted a picture of a complex creature finely attuned to its environment. Their research was compiling a living document of an alien species' interaction with its world, a narrative so rich it felt almost woven from the fabric of myth. Building on this momentum, Ilara initiated a new set of experiments aimed at decoding Clix's vibrational communications. They introduced another specimen from the same species into the chamber, a move watched eagerly by the interstellar scientific community. With two of Clix's kind interacting, the chamber became a dynamic stage of color and sound. The original Clix, perhaps now in a role of elder or guide, interacted with the newcomer, teaching or perhaps sharing information through intricate patterns of light and vibrations that Tom managed to partially decode. These patterns are consistent, they're structured, and there's a syntax to it, he explained one evening as they reviewed the recordings. It's like deciphering an ancient language where every symbol and every pause is loaded with meaning. Their work had now expanded beyond mere biological study. They were tapping into the cultural essence of a species, uncovering the layers of its societal interactions and possibly its history and folklore, preserved and expressed through these cosmic dances of light and vibration. The lab on the moon had become a window not just to another ecosystem, but to another civilization. The lab buzzed with a palpable excitement as the team expanded, new experts arriving to delve deeper into the vibrant world they were uncovering. The second specimen, which Ilara named Nyx, brought a new layer of understanding to their studies. Where Clix was curious and often bold in its interactions, Nyx displayed a cautious, almost scholarly demeanor, often pausing to analyze changes in the environment before responding. This dichotomy between Clix and Nyx provided the team with invaluable insights into the behavioral diversity of their species. Individual differences in response strategies might be key in understanding their social hierarchy and roles, Ilara noted during a team briefing. As the duo adjusted to their shared space, their interactions became more frequent and intricate. On one occasion, as the chamber simulated a gentle rainfall, both creatures began a synchronous display of color and light. The patterns were complex, weaving through the spectrum with precise timing. The team, observing behind one-way mirrors, recorded every flicker and pulse. Are we witnessing a conversation, a debate, a ceremony? Tom pondered, his voice low, almost reverent. The possibility that they were observing some form of ritual or social exchange was thrilling. Ilara, her gaze fixed on the monitors, responded, "Whatever it is, it's deliberate. They're sharing information in a way that's so advanced, it could rival human communication." The development of a technology to translate these bioluminescent and vibrational signals became a top priority. The team collaborated with linguists and cryptographers, piecing together the lexicon of light and sound that defined Clix and Nyx's interactions. During a particularly intense session of what the team believed might be a conflict resolution process, Nyx displayed a series of aggressive flashes followed by a conciliatory pattern that seemed to soothe Clix. The observers held their breath as the tension dissipated through these visual and sensory apologies. "This isn't just biology, it's politics, it's poetry," Ilara mused, her mind racing with the implications of their findings. The narrative of an alien civilization was unfolding before them, told in a language of light that had developed far from the influence of Earth's sun. The lab extended their observations to a full simulated year, noting seasonal variations in the communication patterns. What they found was a rich tapestry of cultural expressions, varying with the seasons much like Earth's own cultural traditions linked to weather and time. Meanwhile, the interstellar community was abuzz with discussions about the implications of these findings. Conferences were held, papers published, and debates sparked about the nature and rights of sentient species encountered in the cosmos. Clix and Nyx had become not just subjects of scientific inquiry, but ambassadors of their kind, their lives a bridge between worlds. As the Earth rotated and the Moon orbited, the little lab that could on Lunar Base Delta continued its work, each day peeling back another layer of the mystery. The team, once mere scientists, were now also historians and diplomats, negotiating the delicate task of understanding without interfering. With each discovery, each breakthrough, the team was reminded of the enormity of the cosmos and the intricate connections within it. The lab was no longer just a collection of equipment and specimens. It was a crucible where the universal questions about life, intelligence, and coexistence were being explored. In the controlled ambiance of the lab, as the second year of intensive study drew to a close, the layers of alien communication that Ilara and her team had uncovered were beginning to resonate across human and alien understanding alike. The project had evolved. It was no longer merely about scientific discovery, but had become a pioneering venture into interstellar diplomacy and cultural exchange. The team, now a diverse group of scientists, linguists, ethicists, and artists, worked to create a shared space where human and alien minds could meet. The centerpiece of this effort was the Symposium of Lights, an event designed to showcase the communication forms of Clix and Nyx to an invited audience from various Earth cultures and distant colonies. On the day of the symposium, the environmental chamber was transformed into a theater of sorts, with the audience encircling a central stage where Clix and Nyx would perform their light symphony. The air was thick with anticipation as lights dimmed, simulating the twilight of Clix and Nyx's home planet. Ilara stood before the assembly, her voice steady yet filled with emotion. "Today, We step beyond the bounds of mere observation into a realm where understanding bridges species and galaxies. We present to you a conversation not of words, but of light and life. As the simulation began, Clix and Nyx engaged in a dazzling display of bioluminescent communication. Their bodies became canvases, painting stories and emotions in vibrant colors that pulsed in harmony with vibrations felt throughout the chamber. Observers were equipped with translation devices that interpreted these displays into human sensory experiences, visuals accompanied by sounds and even subtle tactile feedback that mirrored the vibrations of the alien language. The effect was mesmerizing, turning the alien dialogue into a multi-sensory human experience. "This is their history, their philosophy, their art," Tom explained softly to a group of onlookers as patterns shifted to depict what the team believed might be a narrative of Clix and Nyx's planet, showing cohabitation, conflict resolution, and even celebrations. The symposium became a turning point, not only for the team, but for all who attended. The experience challenged the attendees to reconsider their preconceptions of alien life as mere subjects of study. Clix and Nyx, through their vibrant language, had expressed notions of community, struggle, and peace that resonated deeply with the human audience. Post-symposium, the research team published their findings and the methodologies for the communication translation technology they had developed. Responses poured in from across human and allied territories, from scientists and philosophers to policymakers and poets, all eager to engage with this new window into universal socio-cultural understanding. Elara, reflecting on the journey from the first uncertain days of Clix's arrival to this expansive new chapter, knew that the work was far from over. "We've built a bridge," she said in her closing remarks to her team. "Now it's up to us, and others who will follow, to cross it." As the project moved forward, the team focused on perfecting the translation technology, aiming to facilitate deeper and more meaningful exchanges. They planned to return Clix and Nyx to their home with a message of peace and an invitation for further dialogue, crafted in the light language that had first bridged their worlds. The lunar lab, once a quiet outpost, had become a beacon of hope, a testament to the power of curiosity and respect in the vast tapestry of the cosmos. Through the lens of science and empathy, the team had glimpsed the potential for an interstellar symphony of civilizations, each learning from the others, creating a harmony that could span the stars.